Hey everybody. So it seems to be the thing right now to talk about our mid-year reads. So we're halfway through the year. It's July now. So what have we read so far? So I've got my Goodreads pulled up here so I can see how many books that I've actually read. And I've read 39 books. My goal is 50 because I read 58 last year, which I don't even know if I didn't have audiobooks, that wouldn't have happened. I'll tell you what. But so I thought I would go over the books that I have read and show them to you guys, starting from like least rated to highest rated, which I have a lot of 5 stars because I'm easy to please. But a lot of the books I don't actually physically own because I use the library a lot. So there's that. So I may not have physically the book, but I will tell you a little bit about it and why my rating was what it was. So let's start at the bottom. At the 1 star, the only 1 star that I have, which is Reckless from by Lauren Roberts. I have read Powerless. I actually owned Powerless briefly, but I did give it away. I don't like the Powerless series. And the first book was fine, but it was just such a mishmash of like other books that I liked better, and I feel like it did it poorly what the other books did good, that I was just like, no thanks, because it felt like Red Queen, Hunger Games, and things like that. And I'm sorry, Red Queen and Hunger Games are so much better than that book. Um, sorry, they did it better, and I read them first. So for me, it was a pass, but I wanted to try Reckless. I heard a lot of people, say that Reckless was good or it was a good follow up to the after Powerless, and I was like, well, let's just give it a shot. I didn't like it. End of story. 1 star for me. I don't think I even finished it. I'm pretty sure I DNF'd it like 30% in, and I was just like, no, I can't stand this. I forgot, So anyway, leave that alone. In the 2 star, we have Red Rising. I used to also own, actually, I used to own both of the 2 star books that are there. I got Reckless from the library, but I had Red Rising. I had a physical copy. I actually got it for my birthday. That was a 2 star. I didn't like it. I have a video that talks about why I didn't like it. So I won't go super into that, but there was a lot of really grotesque topics. And I know that the point is that it's grotesque, not unlike the Hunger Games, but for me, it was like literally too much, and I couldn't stand it. So I gave that away real quick. I actually put it in a little library and took something out of a little library. The other book that is a 2 star is The Royal Heirs Academy, which is less heinous than Red Rising is to me, but it was just, I mean, it was very, very YA and lots of tropes and things like that. There were fun parts of it, and I actually did like some of the characters, especially Alaric. And I know that the author has been, is making a sequel to it because it ends on like a cliffhanger, if you will, or just, it's obviously going into a sequel. I wouldn't mind reading it, but I do not want to own it. It is not worth buying. If I can find it at the library, I'll get it there. It is not worth money for me. So I also put that in a little library. Okay. Then we've got our 3 stars. So I don't own, I own some of these, but the first one is The Selection, by Kiera Cass. The selection was fine. It was good. It was also very YA, but like in a more fun way for me. And I actually can't wait to read the rest of the series. It's all at my library, so we're gonna be reading that. Oh, here I actually own this one. So we have got Wings of Starlight by Allison Saft. This is the Disney Fairies, Pixie Hollow, whatever, books. I think it actually, I don't know if it has a, anyway, it's about, Queen Clarion, who is the queen of Pixie Hollow, and her man. Um, I'm so lame. Literally, I couldn't care less about this book. I went in deep about why I didn't like this book, so I'm not gonna in another video, so I'm not gonna do that today. But it was very disappointing because the movie kind of led me, the movie that this is based on, or like their love story is based on, was alluded to, whatever, made me believe that the love story was going to turn out way different than Allison decided to take it. Okay, and I didn't like it. And there were so many stupid side plots. I can't even begin to describe. But I literally am keeping it for the cover because look at Mallory. Look how handsome he is. Oh, My fairy crush. It's embarrassing. All right, let's see what's next on the list. Okay, I have this one too. Okay, so these are the three Starbucks. And so we have On the Edge of the Dark Sea of Darkness by Andrew Peterson. It's part of the Winged Feather Saga. I got this kind of on a whim. I'd heard a lot about the Winged Feather Saga, and it's like a middle grade uh, reader's book. And I usually love middle grade. For whatever reason, this one didn't super entice me. In fact, I think I only read it halfway, and then I was like, you know what? I'm not in the mood for this. I did give it 3 stars because I do think that it's telling an interesting story, and I am curious to see where it goes, but I don't care to read it right now, and so it's a 3 star for me. And that's that. I don't think I own the last two. No. The other one is the first Delicious in Dungeon manga, which I also got from the library. Delicious in Dungeon is hilarious. The first one didn't super appeal to me. I think because the first one is like a really it's establishing the wacky concept, whereas the one that I read later I rated way higher because I was like, oh, I get it. Oh, this is good. Um, but the first one is pretty wacky, so I didn't super feel it out. But I still thought it was fun, and I would definitely suggest that you read it. How about that? Because it's good. Um, and then we've got Hive, Hive, which is higher education for the Higher Education Institute for Villains or something like that. I don't know. It's kind of like an Artemis Fowl vibe. And that's kind of why I picked it up again from the library. I love you, library. I love you so much. Um, and it was fun. I just, I guess for me, it was kind of like weird that these children are being coaxed into being evil. And even though I get that that's the point, I get Artemis Fowl isn't even a good guy, but the point is that Artemis Fowl ends up finding out he's not a good guy and he has a redemption arc, okay? Like that's the whole point of Artemis Fowl, okay? Whereas these guys, and maybe as the books go on, I mean, they don't like the headmaster is like a, a level of evil that the kids don't even want to vibe with. In fact, they try to escape the school. But it was just a little weird for me that that's a concept for kids. But maybe it would be more fun if I read it on. I don't know. I have not decided if I will, but I thought it was 3 stars. So there's that. Okay, now my 4 stars. There's a lot of 4 stars because I am generous with my 4 stars. So Michael Vey is the first one that I see there, Prisoner of Cell 25. I remember showing it and I never talked about it. So I won't go into super depth here, but I will say that Michael Vey was great. I feel like it was what Hive should have been. And these kids are faced with insane moral dilemmas, okay? It's like it had me on the edge of my seat, like, dude, okay, so it's this kid who has weird electric powers. Okay, he doesn't know where they came from. He just has them, and he is trying to suppress them. His mom begs him to, basically. And but one day it gets out, and this girl also has weird electric powers, but they're all different, which is interesting. And like Michael Vey, he surges, he can shock people, but the girl. If I could remember their names, I don't have the book, so well, Michael is easy to remember. I just don't remember her name. I remember his friend is Austin. I don't know. Anyway, but the girl character, who's the love interest, she has the ability to reboot the brain. So if somebody is like there's one point where some kid is trying to fight Michael and she reboots his brain so he forgets what he was doing and he's just like, what? Like what's going on? I don't know. Like so it's super interesting how the different electrical powers like work for the different kids. She can also read minds, which is interesting. Um, so anyway, eventually they find out that they are actually wanted by this creepy school organization, um, and they know that it's bad because they were doing a little online research and they ended up getting found out for doing the online research, and that's how the school found them, and they have a bunch of electric kids. There's like 17 of them in all, or something like that. And the reason why these kids became electric, there's actually like a reason, is that they were like experimented on, kind of during this period of time when they were babies. This guy invented this kind of like MRI machine, like a scanner machine, but somehow it made the children electric. So all of the kids have different electrical abilities, and he's gathering them all up because he uses them for literal crime, like massive crime, not little crime, like massive crime, like taking airplanes out of the sky kind of crime, okay? Like, and in order, he does that so that he can blackmail like the airline that he's trying to take out of the sky with one of these kids that can like zap stuff out of the sky. Um, in order to blackmail them for like trillions of dollars. Like it is actually evil. Like the dude that runs this organization is actually evil. So Michael and his friends end up getting caught, and they try, all they want to do is get out of there. And he keeps putting this moral dilemma in Michael's head, like either you join us or your mother dies because he kidnaps her mother, or your friends die. Like you either join us or that. Like whatever. And he ends up like blackmailing these kids to like kill people, and then he's like, "Oh, you're a murderer. Oh, but we'll keep you safe here." Like, dude, when I tell you, it's actually insane. Okay. I love this book. I know I only put it at 4 stars, but 4 stars is solid for me. And I would suggest for a middle grade reading book, it gives you such moral dilemmas, and the kids still choose the moral side, which is to find a way out, to find a way to not hurt people, to find. I loved it. Michael was great. I can't wait to read the next book. That my library has a bunch of these. I'm so excited. It is so good. It is so action packed. It had me on the edge of my seat, dude. It was crazy. Okay, there you go. The next book on the list is How to Train Your Dragon by Cressida Cowell. I don't know. This book is charming. I've talked at length about this book. Y'all know that I love How to Train Your Dragon in a major way. And I would definitely suggest this book for any middle grade reader. It is so fun. It is so sweet. It is absolutely silly. I feel like it definitely it leans towards boys a lot with like, there's a lot of poop humor and like stuff like that, like the dragons pooping, blah, 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 blah. But I liked it. Okay, I'm a girl, so whatever. But yeah, it was super fun. I had a great time with it, and I would definitely suggest anyone read it. It is so fun. Let's see. Oh, this is kind of embarrassing, but I did read my own books too after they got published. So I put them in 4 stars because I feel weird rating them 5 stars. Is that weird? I don't know. But they're 5 stars in my heart, but I feel like since I am a brand new author, I shouldn't rate them too high. So I rated them both at 4 stars, but in my heart, they are 5 stars. I'm not even going to go into that. Oh, did I grab that? How did I not? Oh, yes, I did. Sunrise on the Reaping is a 4 star for me. And you might be saying, how is it not a 5 star? Well, sorry about that. I just heard somebody, and I always feel embarrassed when I film when people are at home. Usually I film when nobody's at home because it's embarrassing. But I was just like, let me go close my door. Anyway, why is this 4 star and not a 5 star? Well, there were some parts that were a little bit draggy for me, and I explained this in my whole video on Sunrise on the Reaping, or it just parts of the Hunger Games didn't feel like I expected them to. And I think it's because, again, as I mentioned, Haymitch wasn't really in the action. Like, obviously, a lot of stuff happens to him. He's a target. But, like, all the stuff that happens to the other kids, whereas, in even in Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes or in the actual Hunger Games book, like Katniss and Co are like in the action. Okay, they're in the middle of it. Whereas Haymitch ditches it because he has a mission, and he does have a mission, and he kind of misses all of the action of the Hunger Games. So the Hunger Games felt weird to me, and I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. It should be different, but for me, it was just it's a 4 star, not a 5 star, and I still loved it, and it's still good, and I can't wait to see the movie. Um, what else do I have on my list? Oh, The Princess Will Save You. That is a great book. It is so fun. There were, again, the reason why it's 4 and not 5 is because some of the sections dragged for me. This was another library book. I did start to read the other one in the series or the next one in the series, but I just wasn't feeling it. I feel like maybe the first book is the only one that really matters to me, and it was fun. I don't know that I'll ever buy it, but it was a really good time. It was a clean read. It was very romantic. It was very sweet. It's based on, or it's taken something, it's based on The Princess Bride a little bit. It's inspired by The Princess Bride. So if you like that, you will have a good time with it. The next one on my list is The Maze Runner. I used to own the whole Maze Runner series. I got it for Christmas when I was a teenager. I've never read through the whole series, and as I read through Maze Runner again this year, I realized I don't care about these books. I did rate it a 4 star because I do like the first book, but I don't foresee myself ever reading it again or the other one, so I actually gave it away to my library, in which they do a book fair every year, and the money goes towards the library. I love supporting my library. So it's gone. I don't foresee myself reading it again, like I said. I'm trying to see what this book is. Oh, it's Frieren. That's what it is. And I own Frieren. Dee. Is that really Frieren? I gave it a 4 star? Oh, I did. Okay. Um I'm shocked at my own rating. Frieren Beyond Journey's End, one of my favorite manga that I found recently. I love it so very much. It is so much fun. Um, it's about an elf girl who goes on this adventure with the other warriors. Here we've got, all these guys right here. They all go on an adventure for 10 years, and then they come back, and then they go back to their normal lives, and it kind of picks up from there. And really, it starts off with one of the members passing away. Himmel, the hero, and she's heartbroken by this. She can't believe that, because she's an elf, so she's going to live a very long time. It doesn't say she's immortal, but she's going to outlive them, and she kind of has to face the grief of loss and acknowledging that she's going to outlive all the people she cares about. And it is a powerful story, and I really, really enjoyed it. Okay. Oh, The Girl with the Blue Star. I think that's what it's called. Is that what it's called? Yes. The Woman with the Blue Star. This was an audiobook that I read very early this year. It is about Poland during World War II and during the Nazi occupation. It's a heartbreaking story. It goes back and forth between two women. There's one girl who is a rich Polish girl who is experiencing a more safer existence, but still not. And she doesn't agree with the horrors that are happening around her. But her stepmother is in with the Nazis, so it's awkward. And then of course a Jewish girl who is actually hiding in the sewers in Poland and trying to stay out of harm's way, and dealing with loss. She loses her father, and her mother is pregnant, and it's just, um, yeah, it's a heartbreaking story. I would definitely suggest anybody to read it. It is beautifully written. It is about wartime, so it's heartbreaking, but it's such a good story, and I would definitely advise anyone to read it. And that is another 4 star for me. And then we've got, I'm trying to read this. We've got The River Enchanted. The River Enchanted by, I think it's Rebecca Ross. Yes, it is. It is the Rebecca Ross. What a legend. She Let me tell you something about Rebecca Ross. And my first thing that I ever read by her was Divine Rivals. She has a way with words, a poetic way with words. And A River Enchanted, though a huge book, beautifully displays her writing talent. And I would definitely suggest anyone to read it. I have yet to pick up the second one. It's a duology. It's a big book, and I'm exhausted already. But it is beautiful, and I would definitely recommend. Um, we have The Inmate by Frida McFadden. It is the only Frida McFadden I've ever read, but I was kind of getting on the hype train there. These are all library books that I've read. I read library books. But I got on the Frida McFadden. It was fine. It was fine. I'm trying to think, like, I mean, I don't think that I really called the outcome, at least not all of it. So, like, that's good. But it wasn't anything to write home about, and I have not picked up another thing from her since, because I just don't think it's going to be that interesting or keep my interest that much. So it just kind of bad. And then we've got The Deceiver's Heart by Jennifer A. Nielsen. It is the second book in a trilogy. The Trader's Heart? Yeah, I think so. Trader's Game. That's it. Trader's Game, Deceiver's Heart, and there's a third one that I haven't read yet, but it's at my library. This is a fantastic YA romantasy, I would say. It's clean, though there is a lot of kissing. And it's pretty fun. There was definitely a lot of moments in the second book. The first book is great. I don't think I ever talked about the first book, but Trader's Game is really fun. There's a lot of action, suspense, uncertainty about what's going on, blah, blah, blah. It's great. The second book really picks up on that action and kind of doubles it. And there was a lot of moments where I was just like, what the freak is going to happen? Jennifer A. Nielsen is really good at stakes. So I would definitely suggest anybody read that. And if you like middle grade, read the False Prince series. It is fantastic. It's my favorite. All right, what have we got next? Now we're in the 5 stars, baby. I'm trying to move my camera thing so I can see. Okay. Uh, okay, so we've got Captivating by John and Stacey Eldridge. I've just read that. Of course, I talked about it briefly. Fantastic book, absolutely amazing. This is Christian nonfiction, um, but it helped me to understand myself a lot more, understand the heart of a woman, and our scars, why we have them. We all are different, of course, and we have different traumas, but ultimately they come from the same source, okay? The evil one who hates us, all right? Because we are the beauty of God. So there's that. Okay. And then we have Spy Family, book 12. I also got this from the library, though I own up to 10 or 11. I guess I own up to 11 because this is the next book in the series. Um, so good if you love spies, if you love action, if you love war drama, political drama, with a lot also like really silly like stuff like a telepathic child and a dog that is also telepathic. What does the dog do? He does something. He can like see the future or something. I can't remember. But really funny stuff mixed in. It is so good. I loved every minute of it. This one left me on a cliffhanger, which was like, excuse me, how dare you? But I can't wait for the next book. I don't need to go into all that. I'm not going to go into it. I talked about it before. Next, we have The Grave Thief by Dee Han, a middle grade book that absolutely shocked me. I got it at a book sale, and it was amazing. It is amazing. What a find! What a little gem. This is the only book that the author has right now, though I've heard that she's working on another one. I would definitely highly recommend this, especially if you have a middle grade reader. It talks about some really interesting topics about grief and also self-esteem, insecurity, and things like that. This book is fantastic. And then we've got, oh, this looks like it's Free Run Book 2. Okay. Free Run Book 2 is 5 star. I feel like the first one is a 5 star too, but I mean, I guess I didn't think so at the time. But this is a fantastic book. What a great follow up to the next one. We add another character in here. His name's Stark. He's so cute. I really love the themes in this one. I think I just love the themes in this one even more than what the first one started with, because a lot of it was like finding your inner strength, realizing you're stronger than you imagined, realizing you can't do something without your friends. I just enjoyed it a lot. And also fighting evil. Let's go. So fantastic. 5 star free run. Book 2. And then we've got, oh no, did I not grab this one? Hold on. I think I forgot a book. Oh, wait, this is not that book. Twisted Wonderland, Book of Santa Claus, #1. This is, of course, I went into depth in one of my books about Twisted Wonderland. I enjoy Twisted Wonderland a lot. It is a mobile game that they turned into a manga. It is so much fun. It is basically these random characters that take on the appearance of villains from, or like the vibes, I guess, more than the appearance. They take on the vibes of villains from Disney stories. Obviously, Leona here is Scar, basically, in totality, essentially. And so he's trying to come up with a coup, okay, to become #1. So that's what this book starts with. My favorite character is the hyena, okay. And then we've got self-help books, kind of Christian self-help. Joyce Meyer's What About Me? Get Out of Your Own Way and Discover the Power of an Unselfish Life. This book was really great, really helped me to see that, you know, when you give your time, when you give your resources, and time is a resource, that is love, and that is what God calls us to. He doesn't call us to hoard things like a dragon. He doesn't call us to, be lazy or waste our time. He calls us to use this time for His glory and to help other people. So that's what this book was really about, and I thought it was fantastic. But I don't think I need to say more than that. Then we've also got Epic by John Eldredge, The Story God is Telling. This is so tiny, but it was so impactful. In fact, I'm going to read it again pretty soon once I get through some of my other Christian nonfiction. But what a fantastic read. It really talked about, you know, the story from beginning to end, from Genesis to where we will be one day with the Lord. And I just really enjoyed it, and I would definitely highly suggest to anyone to pick this up. And then we got Realm Breaker by Victoria Aveyard. You know I love Realm Breaker. It reminds me so much of those epic fantasies like like Final Fantasy. Well, I mean, I guess, but no, like the Lord of the Rings or something like that. It is a beautiful book, and I would definitely highly recommend. It is a thick book. It is like 576 pages, but it is worth it. Okay. What else do we got? We have Delicious in Dungeon Book 2, which I also got from the library. Fantastic. 5 stars, baby. There were some great character developments in this one. The goofy concept didn't throw me off. I was having a great time. Highly recommend. Please pick these up if you can. Then we've got by A.W. Tozer, Who Put Jesus on the Cross. These are his sermons, and one of them, the last one, was like the last sermon he gave before he died, in which he talked about heaven and the the kind of we're not just going to be sitting around doing nothing in heaven. God has a work for us to do there, and it's going to be so exciting what we get to do. But it was really cool. I really loved each and every sermon. They all stood out to me, and I can't wait to read this one again too. And then we've got the Mockingjay. Okay, look at, I got my fancy Mockingjay. Um, I'd never read this before. I'd seen the movies. I guess when got into the Hunger Games and the movies started coming out, and so for the last one, because I know I read the other two, I've owned the first book for forever, definitely since that time. I never owned Catching Fire, but I know that I read it because when I reread it recently, I was like, oh, I've read this before. It's all coming back to my brain. But I'd never read The Mockingjay. I guess once I saw the movie, I was like, all right, I don't need to read it. I really enjoyed reading it. It solidifies how much I don't like Gale every time, but I really enjoyed reading this for real, and it was a great book. Of course, it was. Susan Collins, absolutely insane. She's insane. And then, of course, 5 stars. J.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit. I have read this one. As you can see, it is a well loved copy. I have read this one many times, but I haven't read it in a long time, and I loved it, dude. It's just so much better than the movies. Okay, I mean that doesn't even need to be said, but like just the dialogue and the silliness. Like I love the things that the movies miss, even the Lord of the Rings, is like the goofiness. Like it's not goofiness, but like the jovialness of the elves and how they come up with these silly songs about the dwarves. They're like taunting the dwarves, like you guys look ridiculous in their songs, kind of. Like I just the jovialness is kind of lost in the films because they want to go more serious with it. But like the book is solid, dude. I love the books. The Practice of the Presence of God by Father Brother Lawrence. That is a very, very small book. My mom is actually, she has it right now. What a great book. It really teaches you to be mindful about the Spirit of God and just to rest in His presence, and which is something all Christians really, we need to be able to do. Um, I would highly recommend it to anybody. I think for me, it was a little overwhelming. I do want to reread it again soon. But it was a great book. Great book. 5 stars. And then we've got Real Not Perfect, which is part of the Riverbend Friends. Sorry. And I do plan to read the other ones, but this one struck me to my core. Um, Being a child of divorce, especially when I was around her age, she's a teenager, I related so strongly to everything that was done in this book, every emotion she felt, every situation that her dad put her in, because her dad was the one who left, which is the same for me. Oh my gosh, it had me crazy. And this is a faith-based book, like it's a Christian author. Um, so good. The faith content was there, and just trusting in God for things, and just all, praying, and but still feeling that grief because that is just so real. And I love this book. I can't speak highly enough about it. It was so good. And then we've got Like a River by Granger Smith, finding the faith and strength to move forward after a loss and heartache. This was a super impactful book. I don't really need to go into it too deeply, but it's a book about, basically his story. He lost his son in a drowning accident when he was very young, and trying to make sense of that, he couldn't do it until he found God. And it's not to say that it was good that it happened or anything like that, but that God makes good out of what evil happens in this world. And God was able to draw him and his family to them after this horrible accident and to bring healing from the horrible accident. So it's a really powerful book. It's not super long, and it's super worth a read. All right. And we have, oh, I do have this book, but I left it on the shelf and I don't want to stand up. Um, so brain completely shuts down. Out of the Silent Planet by C.S. Lewis. What a fantastic book. I do plan on getting the other ones. It talks a lot about the depravity of humanity and the craziness that we do. The main character ends up going to Mars. Malacandra is what they call it. And he um, tries to understand these people who are fully peaceful with each other. There's three different like races of people. They all get along perfectly, and they, he questions. He's like, "Isn't there ever any war here? Isn't there ever any problems?" And they're like, "No. Why would we fight with someone? They don't even understand what the concept of war means." And so it's such an interesting thing. C.S. Lewis is always very thoughtful about the things he writes, and I just found it super fascinating. I would highly recommend. And of course, it's 5 star. And I have, oh my gosh, I'm trying to remember how this goes. It's a Hobbit, a Wardrobe, and a Great War. How J.R. Tolkien and C.S. Lewis, found each other in all this and found their peace in all of their writings and things like that, their inspiration. This was actually given to me by a friend, and I can't wait to own this book. I am definitely going to buy it one of these days. What a privilege. This book was amazing. It taught me so much about World War One, which I didn't know a whole lot about, the horrors of it, what the government was like at the time, and how C.S. Lewis and J.R. Tolkien kind of grew up in this environment, and then they were shipped off to war, and how God protected them during that time, just absolutely miraculous, and how J.R. Tolkien eventually led C.S. Lewis to the Lord, and how C.S. Lewis, even though maybe unknowingly, began searching for God in fairy tales and things like that. He loved myths, and he could see there was something divine, but of course, all myths written by humans miss the mark. The word of God is the only truth. So eventually that's what led C.S. Lewis to understand. It was really beautiful, and I would highly recommend it to anybody who would like to read it. Do I have this book? What is this book? Oh, I think is this Baron and Luthien, by J.R. Tolkien. I don't actually own this copy. I have the Silmarillion, which has the story in it, but I picked up a separate copy from, or, there's like these separate ones that are edited by Christopher Tolkien. Um, and I picked it up from the library. Great read. I love Tolkien. I love his, just the beauty of his writings, and just his, he wrote Luthien about his wife, and I just, get you a man like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, everything about it is just so beautiful. And I would highly recommend you get the one edited by Christopher Tolkien, because he talks a lot about his father's, like, his writing, just how he did things, and it was just really cool. It was like, you were reading the story, but also getting a backdrop into J.R.R. Tolkien's mind as much as Christopher Tolkien could, and it was just really cool. And then lastly, but not leastly, in the 5 stars, we have Safe All Along, Trading Our Fears and Anxieties for God's Unshakable Peace by Katie Davis Majors. This is a great book. I really want to reread it again very soon, once I get through some of my others, because I just feel like I read it through so fast, and I just need to take more nuggets out of this. I need to take more time studying it. Um, but this is a great book. If you suffer from anxiety, if you're struggling, this world is crazy out there, okay? Everybody needs God's peace. And so I would highly recommend this book. I know there's a lot of books about anxiety, but this one really touched my heart, and I just thought it was great. The way that she told and explained her own anxiety was really cool, really relatable, and I would highly recommend. So those are all 39 of the books that I have read so far, and I will let you know the 3 that I actually have in process right now, real quick. So as I mentioned before, for my Christian nonfiction, I have A Grief Observed by C.S. Lewis. This is amazing. I'm almost done with it already. Like, seriously. There was a couple passages that like slayed me, dude, and I gotta find them, because I can't even describe. Like, I want to write them down and like plaster them somewhere for real. It's so awesome, because like you see, like, the beginning of the book, part 1, is just his anger at God, his grief because he loses his wife. And then you see him start turning around. The fog starts to lift. The joy starts to come back. The realization. It's just so powerful. Um, okay. God has not been trying an experiment on my faith or love in order to find out their quality. He knew it already. It was I who didn't. In this trial, he makes us occupy the dock, the witness box, and the bench all at once. He always knew my temple was a house of cards. His only way of making me realize the fact was to knock it down. Whoa! Like, God knows when we're struggling. God knows when our faith isn't where it should be. And he does use things to bring us back, right? Okay. Let's see. And then him talking about, like, why did my marriage have to end so soon, right? He says, it may be grimly pessimistic, as if God no sooner saw two of his creatures happy than he stopped it. None of that here. As if he were like the hostess at a sherry party who separates two guests the moment they show signs of having got into real conversation. But it could also mean this had reached its proper perfection. This had become what it had in it to be. Therefore, of course, it would not be prolonged. As if God said, good, you have mastered that exercise. I am very pleased with it, and now you are ready to go on to the next. When you have learned to do quadratics and enjoy doing them, you will not beset them much longer. The teacher moves you on. For we did learn and achieve something. That's just, it's so cool. And, it's not saying that, God wants to tear us apart, sickness and disease, and that happens in this world because of the corrupted and fallen state of our world. That has nothing to do with God. But God will use that awful circumstance that is awful and bring good out of it, which was bringing C.S. Lewis closer to God. And those two things, and recognizing that his faith needed to grow, right? And that's awesome. God doesn't make any, doesn't waste anything that comes in our way. It's always to bring us closer to him. So anyway, this is powerful. I love it. And then I went to the library. You know me, I'm a library girl. I picked up Reign of the Empire, The Mask of Fear. So this book, which I've almost through, this book takes place directly once the Emperor takes control of the Republic, and kind of the aftermath. It follows Mon Mothma, it follows Bail Organa, and it follows Saw Gerrera, and some other smattering of characters, which is interesting. And um, it's really good. I'm really enjoying it. It's very heavily political, but it's like Star Wars politics. So I'm like, okay. But also a lot of it speaks to our politics, which is kind of scary. Just the chaos of it, the anger, the upheaval, things like that. So it's really interesting, actually. I've really enjoyed reading this, obviously. And I'm curious to see, I mean, I guess I know how it ends, but it's really interesting to see the minute details and how, like, even though Mon Mothma and Bail Organa are like standing against the Emperor and trying to like stop him, that the other Senate officers and things like that, they're like, well, he stopped the war. Like, why is he the bad guy? He stopped the war. It's so interesting to see other perspectives because, as someone who watches the movies, you see he's evil. You see Anakin and Palpatine, and they're evil, they're Sith. But like other people didn't get those glimpses to see what really happened. And it's just, it's really fascinating to see how people can be deceived so easily, and that's why it's so important to be true to yourself and to know who you are. And to me, this speaks highly to our circumstances and our political climate, and how important it is to know who you are, know what you stand on. And of course, I stand on the word of God. My identity is in Christ, so that comes first, but also to do what is right and to do what is good. And obviously what the emperor is doing is not, but he's being very manipulative about it. So it's harder for them to get, you know, to get in there, to get people's attention. But fascinating, so good. I can't wait to finish it. And this is like a new release because it's only a 14-day. I have to read this fast. And last but not least, of course, I'm still working, working very slowly on Snow Globe 2. I won't go into that more, but anyway, that's all we got today, y'all. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing what I've been reading and what I'm continuing to read. So we're going to leave it at that. Remember that I love you and Jesus loves you way more. I hope you guys have a good day.